My name is Shea Belsky. Currently, I am a tech lead 2 at HubSpot, former chief technology officer at Mentra. You may have heard about Mentra. It is an employment network for neurodivergent professionals. I was their chief technology officer for 2.5 years and their tech and engineering lead for 2 years prior to that. My previous work experience includes time at Wayfair, HubSpot before my time at Mentra, and I've interned at companies including Google and IBM. As regards to me being a people manager, I'm just hopping right in here. When you think about being a people manager, what comes to your mind? What came to my mind and what is really on top of things for me is supporting the growth of my direct reports, helping them take on bigger challenges, resolving conflict and addressing problems that they bring to me, and being a meaningful coach that provides actionable feedback. This type of management looks different at a startup versus a big company, but the nature of my job ultimately as a manager stays about the same whether I am in a company of thousands of people or I'm at a company of 10 people as I was at Mentra. And my presentation today focuses on kind of a blend of those experiences. At Mentra, I was the CTO. The buck stopped with me. I was in charge of all the decisions that had to do with my org for engineering. At a HubSpot, I am a very, very small fish in a big pond. So my experiences there are different, but still relevant to these topics when it comes to supporting my engineers, helping them grow, helping them work through challenges that they're facing, addressing performance concerns, and helping them become more confident. And as an autistic person, I can sometimes struggle with some or all of these things. When I think about ways in which I channel, or my autism is channeled as part of my being a people manager, I have to think about regulating emotions and difficult conversations, working through significant ambiguity and complexity, navigating relationships and politics and curmudgery, I think that's a word, between people and teams, and articulating what I'm trying to say in ways that other people understand well. The emotion and the communication, I think, is the number one issue that I have had to work through and evolve in as it comes to my neurodiversity and my being autistic, because I have a lot of thoughts up in here in my brain. My brain has its way of being able to organize its thoughts, but that level of organization or that level of articulation isn't always easy for other people to understand. It's not even that I'm speaking another language or that it feels like I'm speaking another language. It's just that the way that the information is structured in my head doesn't make sense to most people outside of this unique Dewey Decimal System in my brain. And I have to figure out how to translate it to other people so it makes a lot of sense to them. And the only really easy way that I have been able to do this is by throwing things at a wall and trying to really understand, how am I going to figure this out? And the first time I tried to figure this out, the first time I tried to explain my thoughts, it didn't go well. And over the course of my time as being a technical leader and communicator, I have incrementally, slowly become more confident and stronger in my ability to communicate things. Whether I'm communicating engineering technical concepts to other engineers, whether I'm communicating non-technical things to product managers, designers, analysts, and people who don't know what I'm talking about, I have had to discover in my own mind, in my own way, what is it that I'm actually trying to do here? And as Adam alluded to, just through repetition and through iteration and through finding the happy path, finding the right way that my brain works. How is the brain going to tell my tongue what to say? And then is that happy path the best path? It may be the easiest path for me, but it might not be what other people need to hear. So how can I figure out what the right path is? And also finding the right balance between what the happy path is and what the best path is, which has the least amount of effort for me and has the most effectiveness for everyone else who is listening to me. I wouldn't be able to do this without asking for help from my managers. I am fortunate to have the level of confidence that I do to be able to say to my managers, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Manager, I am autistic. What this means to you is I struggle to communicate, articulate my thoughts. And I want to really make this a professional development goal for me so that I can get better at it. And every company has their own framework for what it means to be a good speaker. And the good news about that is that you get a lot of different exposure to how different companies think about communication, whether it's technical or not. They might have you do speech classes. They might have you do little workshops with your team or outside of your team. But every company generally has something. And when you tell your manager a professional development goal, great. You made your life very easy because they are going to want to pick professional development goals for you. And you just laid it up to them and said, hey, I've got an easy one for you right here. Let's work on it and let's get it done. And these things don't always work on the first try, but it is iteration and it's being honest with your manager. And that helps build confidence. My first couple of times communicating, doing a presentation like this sucked. They weren't good for me. They weren't good for people listening. But over time, I was able to figure it out. And I was able to understand, okay, what do I need to do to feel comfortable giving a presentation? Maybe I need to fidget with something. Maybe it's a clothing thing. Maybe it's a light thing. Who knows what it is? These things are all different for every person. But what do I need to not just regulate, but to feel as though I am the most capable version of myself that I can be to do this difficult task? And maybe it's fidgeting sometimes, maybe it's not. Maybe I just need water. Maybe it's a light thing. It could be any number of things. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the thing is for you because you know yourself a lot better than I do. That slide did not work. Thinking about being a leader, there's also this element that I alluded to when I asked Adam about this question, this idea of political or social capital. And if you want to use the term aura, you know when somebody has aura, when they have charisma, when they know that they know what they're talking about. Not just that they think they know, but they actually know. As I have progressed in my career, I have learned to amass this aura and capital. And that is what leads you to taking on more responsibility, becoming more confident, learning, growing, getting promotions. And there's a difference between simply having an aura and thoughtfully leveraging it. The example I have on this slide is that people see Superman as having a significant amount of authority, not just because he leverages this aura, but because he has the objective history behind saving the world, beating monsters, bringing down the bad guys. And other people can corroborate this history without him needing to spill out his credentials for other people to read. He does not need to pull up to a meeting and say, hi, y'all, my name is Superman. I saved the world 20 times. Let's go do this case review or something like that. People don't need to know that about Superman. He has that when he walks in the door. When you think about your social capital, your aura, or what it is about you, what has helped me in my journey into leadership is having an idea of my social capital. I like to also call this like a brag book. It's a funny term, but I think of the accomplishments that I've made over the course of my career. What have I been responsible for? If I was going to go to a new company in the distant future, what do I want to take forward as key things that I accomplished in my current and previous roles that are worth mentioning? That gives me credibility. So when I go into the interview, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And the other people in the interview are like, oh, this guy is serious. On the other hand, speaking of people with high charisma, you've got Tony Stark, Iron Man level figures who they will let you know exactly what kind of charisma that they have. They are extremely in control of their image, how people perceive them. And they define exactly the kind of contract that other people have with them for that perception. You could call it charisma, you can call it ego, but these people are extremely intentional about when they come into a room to get something done, they have the suitcase full of patents, awards, inventions, whatever it is. They have accomplished a lot, and they're going to tell you that. And sometimes of my being autistic, I've had to kind of sprinkle this on a little bit and kind of lean into this. This actually comes down in tech and when I talk about autism more generally. People are like, what do you know about autism? And I'm like, well, I'm autistic for one, which only gives me perspective as to my autism. But meetings like these and meeting so many neurodivergent people give me perspectives into lots of other autistic people. And I don't claim to speak for all autistic people, but having met a lot of them, I have an idea of what a lot of people experience. Not 100%. It'll never be 100%, but it's somewhat representative of autistic people. In the workplace, in my organization, when it comes down to building, architecting apps, planning out projects, my history and my track record speak for itself. And sometimes I have to say, I've done this before. Let's lean into it. This is playing politics, and I don't love playing politics as much as anybody else, but it is a necessary evil about getting this job done. And I do see that playing politics as being kind of a form of masking in a way. You have to rely on things that you know to be true, and you have to be a little bit assertive. You have to push into people more than you ordinarily would to get something done. What does that mean to every individual person? It varies, this idea of playing politics. When I play politics or when I have to play pedicure with another team, it depends a lot on the other person. It depends a lot on what they are trying to get out of this, as Adam alluded to, and resolving conflict pretty early on. I won't speak for Adam because I think he said it a lot better than I was going to. But at the end of the day, when it comes to playing politics, is understanding why you're in conflict in the first place and resolving that. And as an autistic person on one side of that equation, what can you bring into this conversation that is fact-based, data, clear, objective facts that they can't argue with? That has helped me out a lot in these conversations and will certainly help you too. If you're thinking about managing people as well, you want to think about facts, and you want to think about what do they want? What's their corporate love language? What are they doing this job for? Some people just have a job to have a job. They might not want to grow in their career anymore. They might be happy with where they are, what company, maybe they want to get paid more, but maybe they don't want a big title. They're happy with what they are doing right now. You're not a mind reader. Neither are they. It's okay to ask them for information, for facts that you can use to support them as being a leader. That's not politics. That's just being a good manager. Treat people the way that they want to be treated, because they want to figure this stuff out just as much as you want to figure them out. And it's very easy for you to assume that you know what they want. But realistically, no, very few people know exactly what they want. And when you are managing people, it's a journey, it's a process. You want to help them figure out, like, what do they want? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they have an idea or a few ideas. Maybe they are very crystal clear and know exactly what they want and don't want. What I have learned from all of this is that having a cookie cutter sized mold does not work, because every individual is different and everybody wants something slightly different. Even if you have two twins who are very close to each other, they're still pretty different. And lean on your manager for this too. My manager has decades of management experience. He's awesome. I love him. And I would not be half the person that I am in my current role without him supporting me, guiding me, mentoring me, and coaching me. You will never know the answers to every single question that is going to be asked, nor should you. That would be extensive and you should be on jeopardy if that's the case. Please be proactive and ask your questions to your manager, because they want to help you and they want to know that you're asking good questions. And the last thing that I'm going to say about this is be kind to yourself. Being a leader is exhausting. It's tempting to grind in, get a lot of crazy stuff done, and floor at 2,000% of your capacity. Please don't do that. Please be thoughtful about taking time off, going for a walk in the middle of the day, self-regulating, blocking time on your calendar. I am litigious about having focus time on my calendar because I won't get stuff done otherwise. Please be mindful of how best you work. And if that means blocking time off on your calendar, taking time off during breaks in the middle of the day, flexing your hours, be thoughtful and mindful about all those things. That is this presentation. If you liked any of what you just heard, I will shamelessly plug my podcast. I talk about this stuff very frequently, aptly named Autistic Techie. You can listen to it on any podcast platform of your choice. And thank you all for having me.